Hello students, before we walk through today's topic, let me ask you a question. If you want to drive your car, what will be the cost for it? It will be the price for the car if you don't have it and the cost for the fuel, right? Transaction done and you can drive off in your car, right? Now that's wrong because somebody else who has absolutely no say in your decision of driving a car is now breathing polluted air. Did the invoice that you paid for your gas and for the price of the car show up this cost? I'm sure it never showed up in the price you paid. Now that's exactly what we are going to talk today. Hello students, welcome to Economics with Jagdeep. My name is Jagdeep and the topic for today is negative externalities of consumption. Let's get started. Before we talk about negative externalities of consumption, let's get the meaning of externalities across first, because your exam will test this. That's straightforward. Now, what is an externality? So, an externality is a cost or a benefit on the third party who is neither a producer or a consumer in that transaction. Now, externalities can come from production activities or consumption activities, and they could be positive or negative. The focus on today is negative externalities of consumption. So, let's talk about the definition of negative externalities of consumption first. Now, if you think you won't be able to remember this or recall it exactly like this in your exam, I would suggest you write it down. So, negative externality is something that would occur when consumption of a good or a service imposes a cost on the third parties who are not involved in the transaction. So, the segments that I kind of highlighted are important for you to quote in your definition. Clear? Let's take a look at the diagram as to how negative externality of consumption would be represented diagrammatically. So, I've already made the diagram over here. So, we have costs and benefits on the y-axis and quantity on the x-axis. The curves are also made. Let's label them up. So, the curve, this is supply, is written like this. Marginal private cost equals marginal social cost. Now, this implies that there are no externalities in the productive segment. The externalities that we are going to look at is in the consumption segment. This here is a demand curve and you may write it as marginal private benefit. Now, we do have an equilibrium which is over here. Let's draw the equilibrium quantity, which is, let us say, QE, and this is the price in the market, let us say PE. Now, at the point of equilibrium, let me scroll it a little bit on the top. So, at the point of equilibrium, let us call it as E. At point E, what is happening? At point E, marginal social cost is equal to marginal private benefit. So, if any of these concepts are not recognizable or you don't know what these are, then I would suggest watch the video where I've explained each of these concepts individually and then come back to this video. Okay. MPB is called as marginal private benefit, and by definition we know that it is the private benefit of the consumer. In this case, since you are driving the car, the benefit is for you that you get from driving the car. Alright. Now, this is basically the standard meaning of demand that we use under demand and supply analysis. Now, the second segment over here, which I did not draw yet, let's draw that first, is this demand curve. Let me call it as D1, and this is marginal social benefit. Now, marginal social benefit is the benefit for the society. The term social there denotes the society. So, this is the benefit to the society as a whole from the consumption of this particular good. And at point E, or at the equilibrium in the market, we see that we have the private benefit over here and social benefit over here. That means at point E, marginal social benefit is less than marginal private benefit. The individual driving the car is getting more benefit relative to the society. That means the benefit to the society is less than the benefit to the individual consuming that particular commodity. And this is the reason because of which The marginal social benefit curve would sit to the left of the private benefit curve. Clear? Now this vertical distance between the private benefit and the social benefit is the external cost. Alright? So at the point of equilibrium, price is equal to PE and quantity is equal to QE. And we've already seen that at the point of equilibrium, social benefit is much lower than the private benefit. But if we take a look, the socially optimum level of output is over here. This is the quantity which is socially optimum, and this is the price which is socially optimum. Students, if you are finding this video helpful so far, please consider using the thanks button below. Your support is crucial for creating more high quality, free content for students just like you. All your support is appreciated. Also, if you are watching this video on your mobile phone, please hit the hype button so YouTube could push this video to more learners just like yourself. Let's get back to the diagram. So the socially optimum level of output is at QSO and the price is PSO. Now this output is less than the output that was produced earlier. What does that indicate? It indicates that this commodity was overproduced and overconsumed than the socially desirable level. I'll jot that down as well. So there is overconsumption. So there's overconsumption because consumers are consuming much more than the socially desirable level. And at this level, we can see that the external benefit is much lower than the external cost. Therefore, the most desirable level of output should be E1. And this triangle here, this shaded triangle, is your dead weight loss. This is occurring because the society or the producers were overproducing this commodity since consumers were consuming more than needed. Some examples of these type of goods would be alcohol. So excessive alcohol consumption can lead to antisocial behavior, give rise to more criminal activities, and it will put pressure on public health services, lead to more road accidents, and hence healthcare would also feel pressurized. Although the drinker is enjoying the alcohol, but society is bearing the cost. Another such example would be a petrol powered car, the example that I just gave you, where you would fill up your car and drive, so you create congestion and carbon emissions that would affect everyone, not just you, right? So environment and the other road users would bear this cost. So in every case, the pattern would be the same. What is the pattern? Your private benefit would be much larger than the social benefit, and majority of the times there will be overconsumption of goods in this market. There are plenty of other solutions that government could undertake to ensure that the consumption could be brought down from QE to QSO. One such thing is putting a corrective tax or an indirect tax, as we say it. Other things that government could do is to educate people about the negative impacts these activities would put on others, would implicate on others. Government could also restrict the consumption by putting or implementing ban. For example, there's a ban at smoking in all public places. So by default, the consumption falls in these scenarios. So this is something that government could do, although each solution would have some trade-offs associated with it, but that's what we will take a look at in another video. Students, if you find this topic difficult, you can join one of my online tutoring sessions where we could explore this topic in depth. I'm currently helping students from multiple countries like UAE, Singapore, Hong Kong and Qatar. I invite you to contact me directly at the number displayed on your screen, and do not miss out on a complimentary 30-minute session. I shall see you in the next video. Until then, bye now. Take care.